Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Solve a Problem Like on the Attacking Football podcast. Joining me this week, we have our ever-present Scott. Welcome, mate. How you doing?
Doing good, yeah. I'm off on holiday this week, so might be my last time in the podcast for a while.
Love that for you. Love that for you. We all deserve a break. 2 podcasts in a row. Alex, mate, what's going on?
Free time. Got nothing else to do with my life, so come on the podcast and help out.
Year before uni. Love it, mate.
Yeah.
Take the time you can. As ever, joining us in the studio, our voice from above, producer Alfie. Welcome, mate.
Hello, thank you for having me again. I'm looking forward to this.
You and me are the only people that have been on every episode so far.
Yeah, long may it continue.
Love it. Okay, our guest. So, joining us this week is MCFC Tone, otherwise known as Tony. Tony, mate, you're our Man City fan. How you doing? Welcome.
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yep, really well, thank you. Looking forward to the new season. Euros has been a bit, well, England, a bit tough. But get this done, get the new season on. We're all ready, I think.
Mate, the group stages really, they flattered to deceive, didn't they? They gave us all that kind of false sense of security, and then the knockouts have just been 120 minutes of snoozing ever since.
It's been bad. England, I mean, yeah, been bad. And I'm a positive person, and they've been bad.
Okay, well, look, are you excited to fix Manchester City? 4 league titles on the bounce. Maybe you don't need all that much fix, but we're going to have a go anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Ready. Oh, yeah.
Good man. Okay, well, look, let's get into it. We're gonna give you the keys to the Etihad, right? The entire club is yours. You are the sheikh. Every single decision is your decision, and we're going to start with the Manchester City playing squad. I'm going to tell you who they are. You're going to tell me whether you want to keep them, loan them, or sell them, and we're going to put your squad up on the screen at the end. So let's get going with the goalkeepers. I think Scott Carson just signed another 1-year deal, didn't he? Another one. He is the most decorated substitute in football history. Are you keeping him or are you letting him go?
I'll keep him, yeah. Good third choice just to have around the club. And I think he's more there for coaching and it sounds awful, but like personality reason. I think the players get on with him and all the players love him and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, keep him around. I like Carson.
I think he helps with the homegrown quota as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly right. Correct.
Tell you what, he's definitely got the best job in football. Being a third choice goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's always chatting with Pep as well in training. You know, you chatting there, just sat around with Pep and get you, I don't know how much he's on, 10, 20 a week or whatever. Not bad, Alex. Yeah, spot on.
We will take it, wouldn't we? Let's be honest.
Yes.
Okay. Look, the next one is going to be a bit of a tricky one because from the information we have, there's a good possibility he's not here in the summer anyway. But Edison.
Yeah, Edison's one of my favourite players for City. I actually think he's quite undervalued by some City fans as well. Yeah. I think most appreciate what he brings. But there is no better keeper in world football for the way City play than Edison. No one, and if he goes, then it's a downgrade, even with Ortega. But yeah, you can probably tell already, 100% I would keep him without any doubt at all. Yeah, Edison must stay. Yeah.
Do you think he will?
I think he will. I think he's thrown his toys out the pram a bit. He's had a bit of a sulk at the end of last season. So I think, or more hope, that he will stay. But he's been offered $600,000 a week, and that's excluding signing on fee and bonuses for 2 years, which is, I mean, it's just crazy money. You know, it's just crazy money.
Well, look, the man who could be stepping into his shoes next season is up next, and he ended the season really, really well for you guys. I was really impressed with him. I think Stefan Ortega is in with a shout of being the best number 2 in world football. Maybe Kelleher at Liverpool, maybe, but Ortega's in with a shout.
Oh yeah, he's terrific. He gets into most Premier League teams, dare I say, not Liverpool. Alisson's brilliant, but certainly most of the teams in there. He's certainly ahead of United, I'd say. Sorry, does anybody support United? Oh, do you, Alfie? Right, I'll be nice. All right, I'll be nice.
Me and mate.
Ortega, I'd definitely keep him. He's a terrific second keeper or number 2, so I would definitely keep him. But as I was saying a minute ago, if Edison leaves and Ortega becomes the number 1, it's not a disaster by any stretch, but it is a downgrade for the way we play. Ortega's a better shot stopper, but for City and the way they play from the back, and Edison's passing is outrageous. It's a downgrade, but I would keep him as second keeper because he is. You really can't get a better second keeper than Ortega, I don't think.
Okay, if Edison does go, do you make Ortega number 1, or do you sign a new goalkeeper?
Sign a new keeper. Yeah, for the reason that really Edison, in my view, needs replacing with someone who is. I mean, a lot of people watch this and go, "Well, goalkeepers about bloody saving the thing first." For City, it's sort of not. You need to be a midfielder, which Edison is essentially. He's a bloody midfielder in goal. So that's what City need. So that chap from AC Milan, I always forget his name, the keeper, I think it's at AC Milan.
Mike is it?
Yeah. He's been linked. So I would replace him and get another number 1 and hope that Ortega's happy as the number 2 still.
Okay. Well, look, we've got a couple of goalkeepers still in the squad. We'll come back to some signings at the end, but let's move on to your defence, which arguably could be the strongest area of your squad, especially at the moment. So we're going to start with Manuel Akanji, the man who missed the penalty against England a couple of days ago.
Good lad. Well done. Akanji, I would. He was our best defender last season, or in my view, he was. I think I've been on a few City shows, and I think everyone pretty much said the same. Kanji or Gvardiol, maybe, but keep Kanji. Definitely, he's versatile. He's done right and left, and funnily enough, when he's played right or left, he's been better there than when he was centre. But he's just one of them players that can mix it up. I think he costs about 16 million, which is amazing value. Yeah, he's a top player, so stays 100%.
I think he showed Harry Kane some levels at the weekend. He absolutely cost him. I was very
Harry Kane spent half his time in the centre circle, to be fair.
Yeah, true.
Let's do that a lot, to be perfectly fair. Okay, Nathan Ake.
Oh yeah, no. I'm sorry if this sounds like, I love them. I promise I'll get rid of a couple. But Ake, I'm sorry. I absolutely love Nathan Ake. Again, versatile, left, centre. He's playing left for the Dutch, I think, this summer.
Yeah.
Which, he's been left for City. He's solid. I don't think he's ever a 9 or 10, but he's never a 5 or 6. He's always 7, 8, around that area. Just solid, never lets us down. Yeah, stays.
As a City fan, one of our regulars, Dylan, he thinks Ake is world class. Would you say he is?
I think depends how you define it. I mean, if you're talking like the top De Bruyne, levels, then no, I wouldn't say he's like the elite world class level. He's that top rung, that one next down, top. But special to me, world class is special. De Bruyne and Rodri and those type of players.
Are you watching, Dylan? The podcast that Scott's referring to, I think the criteria we had was a top 3 or top 5 in their position in the world. I think you probably have 3 better in the squad than Nathan Ake in their position.
Yeah, no, it's fair. We're strong at the.
João Cancelo, he's been out on loan at Barcelona. I think there's no secret that he wants out of Manchester as quickly as he can possibly get there. Are you keeping him?
No.
Okay.
Look, the boy can play football. There's no doubt. He can't defend particularly well, but then neither can Kyle Walker. So I would get rid. You see, I put out a tweet when he first kicked off at City, and he'd squared up to Pep in training and all these other bits. And it was after that where these journalists were on my tail going, "How do you know about that? We've only just found out about that." It's like, never you bloody mind. I tell you, the bloody job. But yeah, the Cancelo, no, definitely not. He was also giving Rico Lewis and a couple of others a bit of stick and all this sort of thing. So, no, the attitude problem. There were talks with the same with Bayern when he went out there for a bit. I haven't heard of anything with Barca, to be fair. But he can play, but he's a headache, and Pep wants him out, and he will go. And I are completely on side with that. Get rid.
I think Barcelona recently said that they were going to attempt to keep him and João Felix. So there's a desire from Barcelona, but whether there's the funds or not is a completely different matter, because we all know that I think the Barcelona coffers are 3 biscuits and 5 pesos, and they don't use pesos anymore. So okay, let's move on. Ruben Diaz.
I'll keep. Yeah, definitely keep. He'll be one of the in line for captain as well. I would say leader. Didn't have his best season last season, to be honest. He wasn't his normal best, but he was still, like a 7. So he was still very good. And I always stand by that when everyone's on form at the back, at their best, Diaz is our best centre back.
I couldn't agree more. I don't think anybody on this meeting today is going to disagree with you. On your squad list on your website, the next guy, I'm going to ask you about him anyway, but he has now completed transfer to Real Sociedad. Sergio Gomez.
Yeah, he's not the level, which is why he's gone. He was a City fan as a lad, and the players really like him. And he was always in the winning team in the training session. City used to post it. They did like a 5-6-a-side thing. He was always on the winning team. So he's clearly bloody good at 5-6-a-side football. And to be fair, he's a right winger, and I think he played left back for Anderlecht. We brought him in from company's recommendation. It's not worked out. Simply, he's just not good enough for that level, which is why he's now at Sociedad. And that I hope he does well, and I think he will. But he's just not required level.
What did you get for him? 9 million euros.
Yeah, 9 million and 15% sell on. We paid about 11 euros, I think. 11 million euros.
We touched on him earlier. Cavadiol.
I don't know. Alex, I know you follow me. You've probably seen me posting that Rolls Royce bloody thing about 300 times in the season. And people get wound up by and go, stop bloody posting it. It's because I call him Mr. Rolls Royce. I love Guardiola. I bloody love him. He stays. First half of the season, sort of coming in, new position for him at left. Oh, he has played there before, but stapled down as a left. And to me, he was up there with our very best players for the second half of the season. There was him and Foden and Rodri. And he's in that conversation with those two. That's how good he was in the second half. And he's only 21, which is absolutely balmy. So, he stays, definitely.
He started scoring goals as well. Started putting them in the back of the net.
Saved my FPL season.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Everybody's FPL season.
Yeah. He scored a cracker at Real Madrid. He's a couple at the Etihad. Top player. And every time he scored, I sent a Rolls Royce gif out, and he kept scoring, so it kept going out. What do you want me to do?
I mean, if you're getting goals from the back, I think you're in a pretty decent place.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to another young defender, Rico Lewis.
Now this is tough because I would get lynched. I would be tempted to send him out on loan. Now, a lot of City fans watch us. A lot of them go, "What the?" And I do get stick for saying this before. I like Rico Lewis. I think he's good. I think his best position is actually probably sort of defensive mid, that sort of way. Maybe coming in from the right, like Pep likes to do, and Rico's played. That's probably his best spot. And he's only, I think he's 19. But to me, I think he needs time elsewhere, another Premier League club, perhaps mid-table, somewhere like that, where he can play more. And yeah, I just don't see him at that level at the moment, which sounds harsh, but because you probably need your mix of youth. But I would be tempted to loan him.
It's not harsh.
Do you want to put it in a word and get him to come down to the South Coast? Build a relationship even more.
Mid-table.
Happy to take him on.
Mid-table Premier League team. Pipe down. I think people forget that players like David Beckham went out on loan to Port Vale for a decent amount of time, and a lot of players developed by going out on loan. Harry Kane did it; he went out on loan. I don't think it's a controversial take to say a young, what is he, 19?
Yeah, I think
19, yeah.
That should be going out on loan somewhere to learn his trade before coming into the first team of the Premier League champions. And you've got plenty of cover. He's going to be sat there for a season not doing a great deal, and that's not going to benefit him. He needs to. Okay, John Stones.
And John Stones intrigues me because he's got 2 years left on his deal. He's averaging less than half a season playing time now.
Yeah.
Now, when John Stones is fit and firing, he's as good as centre-back in the Premier League. He's certainly in the top bracket. I'm not saying he's the very best, but he's certainly in that top level. John Stones is a wonderful footballer, gifted, great with his feet, clever. One of my favourite players over the years. But you can't have somebody that's playing 16, 17 games a season. It's just not feasible for someone who's on the money he's on. And it's not just about that, but it's a squad place. Now, with 2 years left, I don't think he'll leave City, by the way, this summer. I think he may do next. But I would keep him for now, but probably get rid next summer.
It must be such a lovely position to have as what we all consider world class. Do you know what?
Yeah, move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Last of the defenders, Kyle Walker.
Oh, God. He's the most controversial figure at City. He's the captain. You wouldn't think it the way he talks in bloody public sometimes, or the way he acts in public as well.
He acts in private is a little bit consistent as well.
Yeah, his nightclub antics and getting his bits in front of some City executive's wife, someone told me. I mean, honestly, what a numpty. But he's been one of, if not the best signing since Pep come in.
Yeah.
Without any doubt, unbelievable player, consistent, good. Last season, he was probably our poorest player. He's dropped off. I know he had stuff off field, which some people will say, oh, that shouldn't bloody matter. It does matter. We're all human beings. At the end of the day, things will affect you. Whether it's his fault or not, still affects you. So I give him a little bit of leeway, tiny bit, because it probably is doing. But do I get rid? I would sell him. I would move him on, because I think he's dropped off quite considerably now. He's lost a bit of pace. Now, Kyle Walker without pace is barely a championship player. I don't really sound harsh, but his pace is what makes him a top Premier League player. And I just think with the off-field stuff and all that, I think now's the time, perhaps at, 33, 34, to move him on and get a new right back.
I can see Scott. There's a previous between Scott and I on Kyle Walker. So Scott, you can throw your thoughts in there, mate.
Oh no, because in that same video where Dylan called Ake world class, I didn't have Kyle Walker down as world class, and everyone on the podcast was going mad at me for saying that. And I literally said exactly what you said. I said it's all about his pace. Like, if he didn't have that pace, like he's out position a lot, and he recovers with his pace.
Yeah.
But if Erling Haaland didn't have his finishing, he wouldn't be world class. You can't just take away someone's key attribute.
No, but finishing is something
he is losing it.
Finishing is something you can work on, but pace is like, it's genetic. It's like stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, let's not get into that debate again. do this all day, but I don't think you can move on from Kyle Walker without saying he is in a conversation of two for all-time Premier League right back. There's two people in that conversation. He's one and Gary Neville's the other one. I don't think that's a debate, is it?
No, absolutely. I think they're both. Kyle Walker, like I say, has been one of the best signings under Pep, but there has to be a point where I can't think of the word. You know, when you hold on to something, there's a word for it, and you hold on to
hoarding
too long.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I think that you have to be ruthless when you're at the top, and you have to just say, thank you, but on you go. I think there is interest in Walker from Saudi, which will be interesting because if they offer him 600 grand a week, I'm fairly sure he'll be off.
Yeah, but which one of his wives would he take with him?
Yeah.
Actually, in Saudi, you can have many. So maybe he just takes them all. Who knows? Okay. I'm going to get into trouble. Kyle, if you're watching, I didn't mean it. Midfielders. Let's move swiftly on to Oscar Bob.
Oscar Bob. Well, we're signing Savio. That should be official any minute or this week, I think. So, and Grealish is hopefully going to step up. And then I'm talking about the wide players here. So Grealish, Savio, Doku. I think Oscar Bob looks terrific. He looks as good as a young player as we've got. And I know Saints were interested in him last summer as a loan. And City said no, they want to keep him in the squad. Whether that changes, I'm not. I was told earlier in the summer that there was no way he was going. Absolutely no way again. He's staying. I just wonder if that's weakened a bit because they weren't sure if Savio was going to stay, but he now definitely is staying.
Yeah.
So I just wonder with Bob. But in terms of my position with him, thinking of who else is in the squad, I think he'd be the same as Rico. I think I'd like to see him go out on loan, like to Saints. Hopefully rips it up. Yeah.
Yeah, but would it affect his confidence being relegated?
or if you carry a team out of relegation.
Yeah.
Or we'll be nowhere near anyway. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, Man City have a plethora of wide players that they can choose from, and even some central players that go out wide into those positions anyway. So I think the sense would be to send them on loan. Okay. I don't even know if I want to bring this one up because I think it might genuinely upset you, but he has publicly stated twice in the last 3 weeks that he isn't going anywhere. But the reports coming from Saudi, from journalists who are known to be very reliable on Saudi clubs, are saying he is in talks or has agreed personal terms with a specific club. Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I was told today. I think I tweeted earlier that he's agreed nothing with anybody, not even City. But his first port of call is City. He said himself he'll talk with City when he's back from his break after his holidays. So I think he does all this himself, unless someone corrects me. I think. Yeah, so he's on his holidays. There's pictures of him on a beach, so with his family and stuff. Which he deserves a break after another top season, and Belgium flopped a bit. But yeah, I don't think he's agreed anything that I'm been told at all. But I think he'll stay. I'm fairly sure he'll be staying and possibly putting another year or two on top. And without any doubt, when he is playing. And I'm not just talking City, just my view, and I am biased, and I'm a City fan, but he's the best player in the league when he is on it. I don't think there's anyone. I mean, there's other world-class players in the league, Salah, and there's Arsenal have got a couple and so on, but De Bruyne is the next level above anybody.
I think he's arguably the best player in the world when he's on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think anyone comes close to what you can bring to a side. Like you could bring Mbappe to a conversation, but you can't. I still don't think anyone can do what De Bruyne can do.
It
something
genuinely pains me that you guys don't watch Kobe Mainoo play. I mean, I don't think. Look, I think I tweeted myself. It would be a blow for the league if Kevin left.
Yeah.
I think he has such a big impact on not just City, but on the league as a whole. But he wouldn't be the first player in history to publicly state that they were staying at a club and then leave a week later. So my concern there, Tony, is that I know the journalists that are saying that he's talking, and those journalists are really very reliable. But one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other side of that is the person who told me is someone who is. I mean, if you ask City fans who the best sort of person is around City media-wise, that's come from them. But he wasn't saying he's not going to move. He was just saying he's not agreed anything. But City seems to favour staying in Manchester because of his family. That he calls it home himself. He's got a young family. His wife likes it there. Obviously, the Saudi money, which apparently is 1.15 million a week.
Jesus.
I mean, it's tax-free after 2 years as well. It's absolutely balmy money again. Same as who's the other one we're talking about?
Edison.
Edison, yeah, sorry. So yeah, obviously I'd keep him, and I hope he stays because I think he's got 1 or 2 years, and then he'll probably go to New York or somewhere.
It's one to keep an eye on because the Saudi transfer window doesn't open for another 2 weeks, I think. Is it?
I think it's 17th.
Is it the 17th?
I think it's 17th.
Yeah, so they've got another week or so left before their window opens. So, okay, let's rattle on through the midfield. Jeremy Doku, keep, sell, loan.
Keep. He's 21, 22 maybe. He is top talent. He is raw. There's no doubt. He's not the finished product. He's still got to work on his game. He had, I would say, a good season. Decent to good season, but we saw towards the latter half of the season what he can bring. And one of the strange things about him was when he moved into the middle in a couple of games, he just started coming centre. One was against Newcastle, a game I was at, and he was frightening in there. Newcastle just could not deal with him coming inside and running at them. He's a top talent. Yeah, definitely keep. And I think he's going to get better and better as he learns to just slow down, and like Pep will teach him, he'll get better and better. Yeah.
Phil Foden.
Oh, stays. Well, Phil Foden, look, I know the England stuff, but everyone for England's been shit, other than the lad from Palace at the back. Everyone pretty much has been rubbish. Concert's been all right. But Foden is just one player of the year. He's not the upcoming star anymore. He is a star. He's one of the best players in our team. He's instrumental to why we've won the league this year and previous years. World class. Has to stay. And he's going to be extending his contract with City shortly anyway, which is good.
Agreed. Grealish?
Yes. Now this will get a 50-50 split, I'm fairly sure.
I saw your tweet earlier on Grealish.
Yeah. I get the criticism with Grealish. He's had 3 seasons at City and 2 of them he's underperformed. And even Grealish's biggest fans can't really say otherwise. He has not been... But, yeah, the one where we won the treble, he was very good. But he's very good towards the end of that.
Yeah.
Last season, had an absolute disaster, really, with injuries and off-field stuff with the burglary and all that sort of things. And I know he's got other issues off-field.
Some people were saying he's still hungover from the treble. And
It wouldn't surprise. He needs to get his head down. He needs to get a grip. And I think the best thing that's happened is him not getting called up to England, because I think that's going to give him the almighty slap that he needs, to be honest. And I know he's gone back to training early. He's working with City, which is great. And the PR is wonderful. You see the videos, I'm ready and I'm working out. I want to see it on the pitch. And we want to see it straight away in August. He has to have a good season next season, or else he'll be out the door, because you cannot have 3 out of 4. A lot would have given up on him. Yeah, I think a lot would have perhaps sold him, but I know Pep spoke with him at the end and said, "You are staying.
Yeah,
get your head down, crack on." So I would keep him, but if he doesn't perform this season or starts his other stuff up, then he'll be off next one.
Is there an offer somewhere that changes your mind? Say, I don't know, Aston Villa want him back, come in, give 60, 65 million, Newcastle if they lose Gordon. Do you kind of think he's given us 2 not so great seasons, 1 all right season? Do you think for the money, get some of the money back that you paid. Obviously, not all of it, but
Yeah. We'll never get 100 mil. Even if he has a great season, we won't get that money back. That's a really good question. 60, 65, somewhere around there. I'd rather keep faith with him for another season, and then I guess if he has another poor one, we won't get 60, 65, and he may get 40 at best. But I would rather keep faith with him for another season because I believe there's a player in there. We've seen it, and he suits City. That's the difference with him, and I haven't seen that much of Savio, but perhaps Savio, Doku, Oscar Bob. Grealish is different to those players. And in 3 of City's best passages of play last season, and I'm just talking 20, 30-minute spells because he went off injured, Grealish was on the pitch and was probably the best player. I think there was Luton FA Cup, there was Copenhagen in the Champions League, and he was amazing. And then he got injured, broke down, had to come off. That's the Grealish I still believe we will see next season. I'm deluded, I know, but it's more in hope.
Mateo Kovacic.
Good squad player. I think he's one of those players, Kovacic, that people don't really rate him that highly unless he plays for you. Because like when he was at Chelsea, someone said Kovacic, I'd go, yeah, he's all right. He's okay. It's not bad. And I think people think that with him at City, and I think he is a good squad player. I don't think he's a starter, but he is enormously experienced. He's won every trophy multiple times. He's top player. So, yeah, in the squad, doesn't start, in my view, in the first 11, but a good player to have about, so I'd keep him.
Okay. Matheus Nunes, kind of an underwhelming season last season, coming in from Wolves.
Yeah, we saw glimpses of it. Club World Cup, or whatever that thing's called, Club Championship. And I think the FA Cup game again with Luton and a couple of other games, there were glimpses of it, but not anywhere near enough to warrant. To be honest, I don't know how much we paid in the end. It's probably around 50 mil, I expect. And look, the boy's talented. He's still young. I think he's mid-20s. So would I keep him? I think if you get your money back, you move him on. I know there's Saudi interest, but apparently he doesn't want the move there. He's categorically said no. But that could change if, you get offered 300-400 a week and suddenly, oh, well, maybe I will. But, yeah, get your money back, I'll move him on.
Okay. Calvin Phillips.
Yeah, poor Calvin, yeah. Disastrous signing. He's still got about 4 bloody years left. I think he's on like 175 a week or something.
I'm pretty confident that you signed him so that others wouldn't.
Yeah, possibly. I know Liverpool were looking at him at one point.
United were as well.
Yeah, so look, I don't feel too sorry for him because he's doing all right, but he's just been a disaster. And the problem with Calvin Phillips at City, it's not he can't play. The guy can play football. We've seen him do it for England and Leeds. We know there's a player there. He just didn't seem to get it. He couldn't understand the positioning. And there was Ruben Diaz, and whenever he was playing, they were shouting at him, "You're in the wrong spot." They were pointing at him like half the game, over to your left, all the time, to the left. He couldn't grasp what Pep was asking him. Pep was like this on the sideline. Look, he seems a lovely guy. The players really like him, and his disastrous loan spell at West Ham, the Newcastle game, when he come on at 3-1 up and they lost 4-3, and he conceded 2 of the goals.
Well, no,
just summed it. Sad to say, summed him up. But yeah, he has to go. But I don't see anyone paying a fee for him. Someone said 20 million from an Italian club. There's no way someone's paying even that. I don't think. I think it'll be a loan, very similar to Cancelo, in that we've stitched ourselves up, and it'll be a loan.
Okay. I think I know the answer to this one already, considering he was probably the best player in the league last season. Rodri.
Yeah, best player on the planet for the last couple of years. If he played for Real Madrid, he'd win the Ballon d'Or. I mean, why on bloody God's earth Bellingham is getting a mention above Rodri? Can anybody seriously tell me Bellingham's been better than Rodri in the last year? Maybe someone.
I think the impact that Rodri has on City as well, like you know, night and day between when he's in the team and when he's not. Like,
correct.
It's very similar to Southampton here with Flynn when we have Flynn Downs on our side.
Yeah.
It's literally, and obviously the similar-ish style, but you can see LA laughing. So I mentioned Southampton again, but
Very
I've got a reference point. So
Downs is good, very, very, very good for Saints. I've seen him, been down to St Mary's a couple of times and seen him. He's very, very good. But yeah, Rodri, obviously, he stays. He's another one who's getting a contract extension. But he's best player. I think De Bruyne's the best player in the league. But if you see what I mean, he's been the best player in the league for the last couple of years. He's still, what is he, 25, 26 or something? He is beyond world class. He's just a crazy good player.
Finally, for the midfielders, Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, he's had a 50 million release clause for a year or two now. And as soon as that come up, I was like, oh, he's going. Someone will pay that tomorrow. And weirdly, nobody has made even a formal bid for Bernardo since he's been at City. Literally since the start. There's been interest, Barcelona, but he wants to move to Benfica in a year or two, and that's where I think he'll end up going. I've heard he'll stay. You can never promise that because there's a release clause. So nobody can definitely say he's going to stay. But I think Bernardo will stay. I would keep him because he's brilliant, simply brilliant, works harder than any player, always turns up. He hasn't actually had his best season, to be honest, again, like a few others last season. But he's still a top player. But I think he will, he'll stay with us. He's got 2 years left, I think, and then he'll go to Benfica on a free.
I think in terms of his release clause, it's the way football works at the moment. He's probably been contacted by clubs and said, look, we might activate your release clause. Do you want that? And he's just gone, not interested, in which case nobody would activate it.
Very true. Yeah, that's very true.
It's all done through intermediaries and agents and friends of friends of friends of friends, so we can't have any more tapping up scandals.
Yeah, very true. But I would keep him. I think he's a terrific squad player, and he does start most weeks, but he's just a terrific player. Yeah.
Okay, we've got 2 forwards. We know both of them are. I don't think you're going to let either of them go, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. Julian Alvarez.
Yeah, now, see, I'm a bit funny on Alvarez. I like him. Look at his trophy cabinet. He genuinely has won everything in about a 12-month span. And he starts most of the time. I'm not so sure. I think he starts for Argentina. Not all the time, but I
think starts.
Right. So, and for City, when it's the first 11 out, he's on the bench and he'll come on, which I think he will look to move. I heard he's open to a move this summer, but he's
linked with Atletico and PSG this summer. And I think PSG are definitely in the market for a forward. Maybe Atletico Madrid, not now that Morata's decided he's staying, but there's definite interest there.
Yeah, and if you can't really promise him, first team, because you've got to turn up and play. But if Paris say to him, look, you're one of our main boys now, Mbappe's gone, I could see him being head-turned by that, because the fact is, for City, when we are full strength or near it, he's not going to start. I mean, he's not starting ahead of Haaland, that's for damn sure. So I like him. I think Pep's tried to sort of wedge him into the team at times, and it's not quite worked because he's not a midfielder. He doesn't have that technique. He's not quick enough on the ball. So I'll be honest, controversially, I would probably say if you get good money for him, and by good money, you've got to be talking 70 upwards for him because of what he's won and what he's done. He's still scored, 15, 20 goals for us last season? He must have done. He's scored plenty. I'm sure I might be exaggerating a bit on that number, but I would move him on if we got good money.
He got 20 goals for you last season, 9 in the Premier League. No, he didn't.
Oh.
No, he didn't. He got 11 in the Premier League.
No, that's not. Yes, that's good. It's good for the games he's played and so on. But I'm not convinced he'll be with City longer term. I've been saying this a little while, and I got shot down back in January on a pod, and I said, no, I don't. I would be surprised if he's here at the start of it next, not this one, but the next season. I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very surprised that you said you'd let him go, because I think he's probably one of the best backup strikers in the league. Again, goalkeeping situation. Okay, so you're obviously going to let Erling Haaland go as well, then, right?
Yeah, absolutely. First out the door. No, no, world class.
Alfie, you heard him. He said Haaland's going.
Yeah, you clip that. Yeah, and I will. Trust me. He wasn't at his best last season. He still scored silly goals. He's had injury problems. He had a bad problem with his foot that was affecting him, even when he was playing. He still scored bloody ton of goals. He's always a threat. Yes, he's quiet a lot of the time, and people say, "Oh, he didn't touch the ball, has he?" But he's got 2 centre backs with him, and a part of his game is take those centre backs away that allow Foden, Bernardo, De Bruyne, Grealish, Doku, all the rest of them to go run riot. So, yeah, Haaland stays. He's probably the best striker in the world, or certainly one of.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely top one.
Yeah, he's top. Yeah. For sure.
Okay. Listen, we've been through the squad. We've trimmed the fat, what little of it there is. I think, Alfie, can you just count up the number of players that Tony's actually getting rid of? And I don't mean online. Tony, you're going to need to make some signings to cover the holes in the squad that you've made, right? You've got Savio coming in from your system in Italy. Where else are we going, mate? What are you bringing in? Where are you looking to strengthen the market?
Well, they need somebody that can help Rodri. That's absolutely fundamental, key. You know, that Kimmich to me is the absolutely clear and obvious signing. He is 29. Yes, he's on 300 a week, and he'll want more than that. But we've got 2 glaring. Well, glaring's maybe a bit harsh. So, no, actually, it is glaring for the Rodri help. I think the issues are Rodri's support and Kyle Walker, the right-hand side. And I think if they move Kyle Walker on, Kimmich can play right and help Rodri. And I'm not saying Kimmich is going to sit in the reserves waiting for Rodri to be tired. You know, Kimmich starts for bloody everybody, and he starts for City as well, whether Walker's there or not. But that to me just ticks 2 boxes, one player, Kimmich, right, centre. So those are the 2 biggest issues at City. Less so the right. Support for Rodri, Bruno G, we'd like him as well. Well, Paquetá, we know what's happened with that one. Right. So they're clearly in. They will sign someone. They definitely will sign somebody. I think there's João Neves at Benfica, but I've not heard anything concrete on that. I think that's just rumours. I think Paris will probably end up
£120 million release clause.
Yeah, no, City are not paying 100. I know people go, "Oh, you did for Grealish," but City are not paying £103 million, 120 million euros, whatever it is, for João Neves. Look, you know what'll happen? It'll break tomorrow morning. They've just done it, and then you guys will send a video out, and everyone will go, "Hey!" But I don't see it. Yeah, don't see that.
Don't worry.
Yeah, but
you're taking Kimmich.
Oh, yeah, bloody hell, yes.
Don't forget, mate, you've got the keys to the Etihad. You bring in whoever you want. Let's face it, Man City do. So you have plans to bring in anybody that you want. So you're bringing in Kimmich as cover for Rodri and to replace Kyle Walker.
Yes, I would, but I would also bring in another right back for a different style, which would probably be Frimpong from Leverkusen, who was with us, actually. And he's got a release clause, which Chicky loves. He loves paying release clauses. He doesn't like to negotiate. So Frimpong, perhaps on the right-hand side, is that a different sort of right back to Kimmich? Well, they're vastly different players. So it covers those 2, good squad player. So out of Frimpong, Kimmich, if Edison goes, I'd have the lad from Milan. Yeah.
Alfie, just quickly, how many players did Tony get rid of?
You got rid of 6, 1 attacker, 2 midfielders, and 2 defenders.
Both
No,
full.
sorry. 3 defenders, sorry.
Okay, so you've brought in 2 fullback covers. So you've got Frimpong and you've got Kimmich, who can play
Kimmich.
at right back. You've got Kimmich, who's also going to cover Rodri, so I think that's a utility player. You probably need another midfielder and probably another forward.
Yeah, another forward now. Another midfielder and another forward. It's difficult, really.
The forward market at the moment is really like there's a lot of number 9s, but I don't think City necessarily need a. I don't think many teams expect City to come for a backup. Well,
He's somebody who can play.
well, they would, but
Okay.
it depends. Like how high the quality of a backup you want.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's a nice problem. It's a lovely headache to have, but that's the problem City have. Is that I keep saying as City fans say we need 3-4 more players, and they all have to be as good as bloody Rodri. It's not going to happen. You can't have 24, 25 world-class players sat around waiting in reserve for game time and so on. So it's a difficult one to weigh up, really. In terms of a striker, that's very tricky because
Xerxes would have been very good for you.
Yeah, who's that? Sorry,
Xerxes, who's going to United. He's 6'4". He can play anywhere across the front 3.
right.
He would have been great for you.
Yeah. So there's possibly obviously United, but there's possibly someone around that. Somebody mentioned Ivan Toney to me the other day, which I don't see that at all, to be honest. But is he going to sit around and wait when he's got
Tottenham written on him or Dom Solanke have got Tottenham written all over them?
Yeah.
Either or.
I mean, even if Erling Haaland gets injured, Pep can just go Phil Foden a false 9 or De Bruyne false 9 again, and the problem solved.
That's spot on, Scott. Yeah, I think I would go that route, and I wouldn't necessarily look for somebody who's a number 9. I think I'd look for a 10, another one.
Would you get Wirtz from Leverkusen? I think he said he's staying, or Musiala.
Oh, Musiala, please! Look, in an ideal world, Musiala, Wirtz, get them both in, and that's everything sorted for the next 10 years. But look, if I can buy anybody, I would have Musiala out of the 2. I'd definitely have both, obviously, if I'm greedy, but I'd definitely have Musiala. I think he's special. I mean, he truly is special. And him in City, watching the way he plays for Germany and Bayern, he would suit us very, very, very well. And he's another one who, if Haaland's injured, so perhaps Wirtz in midfield, then Musiala can be that Alvarez replacement that sort of plays in midfield and on the wing and all the rest of it as well. So, yeah.
You're having Wirtz and Musiala?
I'm going to be very greedy and very, very deluded and say I'll have both with Frimpong and Kimmich. What a summer that would be.
Raiding the Bundesliga.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you imagine the bloody meltdowns from rival fans if we got them for him? Good Lord.
I
can only imagine LA tweeting everywhere about it.
Yeah.
Complaining about.
If you end up going out this summer and getting Mike Maignan, Joshua Kimmich, Frimpong, Wirtz, Musiala, you may end up with 230 charges, not 115. But hey, look, come on, you do what you want with it. We gave you the key. It's entirely your choice.
Yeah, I would definitely get those. Those are the players in the dream sort of scenario. If I could go and buy anyone, those 5 would really, Christ, would they strengthen? It'd be unbelievable.
I think with any other team, you'd say that's probably unrealistic, but it's Man City. So I could genuinely see that scenario happening.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think realistically, I think Musiala will stay at Bayern. I just can't see them. Look, it's his choice if he wants to run it down. But he's the poster boy there, and he'll sign some 6-year bloody 400 grand a week or something soon. And Wirtz will leave Leverkusen with Alonso next summer, and they'll probably end up in the same place.
Okay.
Real Madrid, probably.
I think we're done with your squad, mate. I think that might be both the best and most expensively assembled squad that football has ever seen. So well done. I think we're going to move on now to our next section. Scott's going to take you through management and coaches.
Cool.
Right, so I think at the end of the season, Pep kind of hinted that he was closer to the end than the beginning. In terms of the City fan base, what's the general feeling about how long's left in Pep's lifespan at City?
From people I speak with, obviously we want him to stay as long as possible, without any doubt. To us, I can't speak for all City fans, but certainly the ones I speak with, he's the best coach on the planet. He's the most influential, best of all time. All the rest of it, everyone knows really. Even rival fans know, even if they don't think he's the best. Lee doesn't agree, but even if you don't think he's the best, he's an unbelievable, influential coach. So we want him to stay for as long as possible, but he's done it. He's won everything. He's won it multiple times, or Champions League once, but he's won the league, broke the records, all this sort of stuff. So there is a part of me that thinks perhaps it's maybe the right time, because where does it go from here? But obviously I would much rather him stay. But I understand if his thinking, his thinking is that he wants to go. I understand why, because he's won it all. There's nothing left for him to prove here. Not everybody, that's not true, but a lot of people said he'll come here. Oh, it won't work. Oh, his style won't work. Oh, all this nonsense won't work here. He's proven them very, very wrong.
So it's like you have the keys to Etihad. Say if hypothetically Pep said tomorrow he's leaving, what manager would you bring in?
My immediate one was Alonso, but I want to see how Alonso does next season. Because, look, he plays the right style. It's very similar. He looks up, he said Pep's his idol, all this sort of stuff. So that's his style. City will definitely look at him. And he had an unbelievable season at Leverkusen. I know they blew up a bit at the end of the Europa, but I mean, that season they've had is historic. I want to see how he does and follows that up, because and it's a massive if, I still think he'll do really well. But if he bombs out in the mid-table and they're dropping out of cups and they're not quite there, then questions will be asked. It's amazing what he's done that season, but it's how you then follow that up. And it's his job to keep those players tuned in and to go and to want to win more. And that's what Pep does so well, is he keeps them going. Whereas other managers, Mourinho and so on, their players drop off vast after a year or two. They completely drop off. Pep keeps them on. So I'm very interested to see how Alonso does. Another coach, I tell you what, he's just irreplaceable, to be honest. Whoever comes in, I feel sorry for. But I will say this. If he goes, I think the manager who will come in is Michel, or it might be Mikel. I don't know how to pronounce his name, at Girona.
Yeah.
I think he'll be the one that comes in if he does well at Girona again this season. Same with Alonso, if he bombs out, no, he won't be. But if he has another, gets him in the top 6, does all right in the Champions League, maybe a cup final, he'll be Pep's replacement. I'm fairly sure.
Well, you're
He's got to go against him at Girona, though. He's got to deal with Donny van de Beek in his squad next season, and that's enough to take anybody into the bottom half of the table.
If he gets him playing, though, then he is a genius. I mean, he's certified then.
City are kind of like in a lucky situation where Pep, he's kind of influenced so many coaches. You even got people saying the Pep disciples. There's that many coaches that emulate Pep's style. So even Pep leaves, there'll be a plethora of coaches who can come in and seamlessly just fit that style.
Yeah, especially, what happens if Kompany does really well at Bayern, gets them going, wins the league? Could be Vincent Kompany. I'll be honest, I think he's maybe a tad fortunate to get that Bayern job, but he's got it. And if he succeeds there, because let's face it, he can't do much worse than Tuchel, although Champions League, fine, they got to... Was it a final they lost to Real Madrid, or semis?
Semis.
Oh, Dortmund final, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So... Yeah, they were lucky to get that far, to be honest. And whenever I saw them, they were terrible. So I don't think Kompany can do much worse than Tuchel did with them. So, yeah, you never know, Kompany. But I think Michel, or whatever he's called, will be the manager. If it was my choice, right now, I would go Alonso.
Do you lads have any other questions about management?
Yeah, do you not think Alonso goes to Real Madrid? Because I don't think there's another club in the world that is more aura than Real Madrid.
Oh, I think Alonso will end up at Real Madrid with Wirtz. I think they'll both go there. Ancelotti's leaving next summer. I think he's due to go. It just all makes sense. They've got a release clause for Alonso as well, 10, 20 mil, whatever it is. They'll pay that. Yeah, if he does well, it's a big season for Alonso, but he will know himself. If he does well, he'll be at Real Madrid or City or one of the top teams.
So you're in the boardroom, you're the sheikh. If it's not something City fans want to talk about, but if those 115 charges, if they do come true, what happens next?
Oh, bloody hell.
What do you do in that situation?
Yeah, well, if they're found guilty of the main ones, I mean, the 115 is a nice, it's a headline, stuff. Yeah. Wow, 115. I mean, most of those are related to bloody time cooperation, all this other nonsense. But if they are charged with the main ones and they are fundamental and they are guilty and they come out and they say we are absolutely guilty, they're going to be in for an almighty beating, and the club will be. So, look, I just want to say there that I'm a City fan, and like you guys, if you guys are City fans, you trust the club until you are proven otherwise. So I trust the club, the people at the club, I should say. I trust them until I have reason not to. And I have no reason not to trust and believe what they're telling the fans, which is they are saying we're innocent. And, of course, rival fans, they go, well, but you're bloody not. And if it was Arsenal, United, whoever, I'd be there going, oh, yeah, bloody hell. But, look, if they do get done for this, then, yeah, they'll get the book thrown at them. And if they are guilty and absolutely no argument that they're guilty, then they deserve it. I don't mean the club, because it's not fair so much to paint the club in that light.
The club as a whole is fans and everyone else, but you mean the board and the people that have been in charge and caused themselves. Yeah,
heads will roll for the people that are responsible. The club will get punished, whether you see it that way as a community or not. But yeah, it's a difficult one, really. I mean, if they're guilty of all of it, they could face relegations, expulsion, all this sort of stuff.
So I have a question for you on that. So, again, putting you in charge, if you're the sheikh, and the FA come to you and say, right, you are guilty of all 115 charges, we're going to give you two options as punishment. One, we strip all of your titles, all of your trophies across everything since you bought the club. Or we relegate you to League Two and you have to fight your way back to the Premier League. Which one are you choosing? Do you lose all of the accolades that you've won over the last 10 seasons? Or do you get yourself relegated, potentially have your entire playing squad leave the club, because who's going to stick around in League Two? You lose the manager, you then lose his coaches and so on and so forth, and potentially your future success is compromised. What do you do?
Yes, that's a good question. I will say this. The thing is, if you get stripped to titles, and I always say this, we've lived those moments.
Yeah.
So back from the Aguero moment and the Pellegrini one when we won, all these historic things with Pep, which by these charges don't relate to anything from this historic time with Pep that we're in. Just to be clear with that this last sort of 5 or 6 or whatever it is. These don't relate, although you could add that if they are guilty, it's had a knock-on effect, which is fine. But we've still lived those moments. We've still won the Champions League. We still live those days. You guys will know, watching your teams, those unbelievable moments like Saints for the playoffs and so on. You live those games. You celebrate those times. And no matter what, in my view, no matter what happens, I had those moments with my family, my friends, my other City friends and so on. We lived those moments. We won those trophies. So if somebody comes along and says, oh, you in the record books, I couldn't give a toss. That's just my view. Other people say it's a bit tainted if you look back at it. Personally, I will look back on it even still with fond memories, because of, I've got memories of who I spent that time with watching certain games like the QPR game and all that sort of stuff in those times. So I just want to put that into context. But in terms of, I'll just go if I had to pick one of those, I'd go down. Just go down to League Two, sell up, buy up, make your way back up. We'd still win the league before Man United. Sorry. Just kidding.
How
do I leave?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I couldn't help it. I was going to say someone else before.
I think I probably would make the same choice. I think Scott, what do you think? Would you do the same?
Yeah, I'd do the same. Yeah.
I was gonna ask Alex, but I haven't won anything, so it's going to be difficult. Now, Alex, what genuinely, what would your choice be?
I don't know. I agree with what Tone said. Like, the memories are still there. It doesn't impact. Like, I couldn't, like, yeah, we won a trophy, but it's, like he said, it's the actual moment who you spent it with. Like the playoff final, I spent it with my brother and my granddad. The memories of being with them are more than actually winning the trophy. Obviously, going up, it all coagulates together. It's all a part of the whole thing. But
yeah,
it's still the meaning of being with the people you want to be with when you win the thing. So I think stripping of the trophies doesn't really do anything. I think I'd choose that because it doesn't. To me, yeah, okay, we haven't technically won them, but I've been there. I've experienced us winning them, and for that time we won them. So it wouldn't change much for me.
Yeah.
It's like Juventus argue when they had their 2 titles taken away from them. My dad's a Juventus supporter. Everyone in Italy, when I go see my family, it's all, I can't remember how many it is, but I think they got stripped of 2. And it's all everyone, even when they celebrated the first Scudetto a few years ago, not a few years, it was like 12 years ago under Conte, they all held up like the signs of how many numbers they won. It was 2 more than the official number. So it doesn't change. Nothing changes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Tom, I think it didn't need an awful lot of fixing, but you've successfully fixed Manchester City. Well done. How does it feel?
Oh, bloody good. Any feeling.
I think they might be league favourites, but that might be pushing about there. Manchester City league favourites.
Yeah, I think Arsenal. Yeah, will probably be again the most likely ones next season. I think they'll go and spend a bit of money again this summer as well and strengthen. I think so. Yeah, but we'll see. We've won 4 on the bounce. It's, to do 5 just to keep them players rolling is very, very difficult. You saw it last season. It's very difficult, especially towards the end.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, our final section. For those of you who follow us on Twitter, you'll have seen that we that we asked for some questions to put to Tom.
Yes, I've seen one of these, and I apologise, but you'll know which one it is.
Yeah. Well, listen, we don't choose the questions. The producer chooses the questions. For those of you who don't, please go and follow Attacking Football. It's at Attacking Footy. Please go and follow Tone, so it's MCFC Tone, and subscribe to the podcast because we're funny, right? Alfie, you've put together the questions for Tone, the fan questions. Can you show us what you got, buddy?
Yep, so I've got 5 quick fire questions here, and this first one's from @Chris Slater, and he said, with what looks like KDB leaving and potentially Edison, will we see a mass exodus of players leaving City and potentially Pep?
I hope not. I think De Bruyne will stay, and I'm hopeful Pep will extend, and Edison is more of a 50-50 one. So, no, I don't think there'll be a major shift. Even if those 3 go, I don't see it, to be honest.
Yeah. Moving on, @WEFC_, and he said, how big of a loss is Omar Barada to City?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. I get mixed from people because I'm not overly familiar. I tell you what, if City are in trouble with this sponsorship stuff and all that, then he's going to be one of the ones that's also in a bit of bother. But that's very difficult to answer because I think you'd have to know more about the behind the scenes in terms of what he did. And the people that I know say he did a good job behind the scenes, but without meaning to sound crass or horrible, everybody's replaceable, aren't they? Nobody's indispensable. So I'll be honest, it's not probably something I would notice. Like Pep goes, I'll notice. If Haaland goes, I'll notice. Barada, I'm not bothered, to be honest. Whoever goes behind the scenes.
I think Barada was more responsible for the multi-club operation as opposed specifically at Manchester City, and I think that's why Ineos have brought him over to Manchester United, because they now have
Yeah.
Bit of a multi-club model that they're working on. So I think.
Yeah. Next, this is from @transfercore_, and he said, "Will City be looking for a new right back with Walker getting on and only having Lewis and Akanji?"
Yes, if Walker goes, yes. But a lot of City fans say to me, "Are we getting a right back? We're getting a right back." If Walker goes, yes, definitely. The big question is Walker going? Because Walker said back in May or maybe early June, he's staying. He'll be here next season. That's Walker himself. So it's all on Walker. If he goes, yes. If he stays, no.
Yep. Next one @SA Ainsworth. This is from 0710, and she said, as it stands, which position, if any, do you think is key for City to strengthen?
Rodri's support, that's the number one. Kimmich does the 2 boxes, as we said, but yeah, has to be. Rodri needs help. He's in the media again today saying he's tired and he needs help. So, or around those, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but he needs help. So we absolutely must get him support. I'll be honest, if we get him support and the rest stay, that's fine. The squad's good enough. We really only need that support. Really, we only need one player, I think, right now.
Last of all, this is from @AnoMagisha123. Hopefully I pronounced that right. He said, "Any idea why City transfer news are not much these days? Could it be because they're not active in the window and there's just nothing to report?"
Yeah, I don't think anyone's really active at the moment. Real Madrid maybe, but I think it's fairly quiet. The thing is I said this back in right at the start of the window. I don't think it'll be a busy window for City unless people go. We have a big squad. We have players to trim. We've got McAtee and Phillips and all these other Cancelo and all those guys that we went through earlier. We can't. We have a very with Savio. We have and Gomez gone. I think we have 21 or 22. A strong match day squad that does not include Cancelo, Phillips, or McAtee or any of them. That's a big number of players. So people have to go. So it will be quiet in terms of incomings until the outgoings start rolling. And some people don't see that. They just want 3, 4, 5 in. It's not going to happen.
I think to add to that as well, I think I can't remember who said it, but someone said it to me when in the transfer window, especially when things go quiet, it usually means good things are happening because obviously leaks happen. But I think when clubs are working behind the scenes, they try to keep it tight, especially as City done recently. I think a lot behind the scenes, City kept watertight. I think being quiet at this time, especially early in the window, is a good thing to stop other clubs coming in and poaching your target and stuff like that. I think for now it's probably a good sign. Yeah,
I hope so. And there's Eze from Palace. They've been linked with him. He's got 60 mil release, and they definitely inquired about him last summer. And they definitely inquired about Olmo, who's also got a release clause. So they 100%. This was last summer. They probably would have gone and got both if others left. So they're ones to keep an eye on. City will buy. They will definitely buy, but they will sell. And people say City need to refresh. In part of refresh is selling. So they've got. I find some City fans very unrealistic. We want Bruno G, we want Kimmich. Like I threw those names out just now. Musiala, Wirtz. Of course, that's who we want. But realistically, Wirtz isn't moving. Musiala's not going to go anywhere this summer. So you just got to be realistic. City have a great squad, a terrific squad, the best in the league, in my view. So you just got to be realistic. It's 1 or 2 out, 1 or 2 in.
I think I'm going to finish up with 2 quick questions, right? And then we're gonna wrap this up. Number 1, Alfie, I'm amazed you didn't ask the question about Sydney Sweeney.
That's the one I thought.
Sorry, I'll be honest, I was a little bit confused. I did read it. I read it earlier and I was a bit confused.
Sydney Sweeney would be an incredible signing for your club.
And Salma Hayek, yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Selma Hayek. Okay, fine. The other one I wanted to ask you, again, it's a viewer question, which I was going to ask you personally. @transfercore_, they said, how much would you sell KDB and Ederson for? If you could sell them, how much would you want for them?
Yeah, I was asked this actually on another show recently, and I said Ederson. I said 100 mil. I'd just say, look, he's one of our key players. He's absolutely integral. He is the most important player, and I include Rodri and everybody, or as important as Rodri and those. I really think people underestimate how important Ederson is to City, or some do. So I would throw down and just say, you want one of our key players. Yeah, he's got 2 years left. He's 30, I think. I want 100 mil. Realistically, I think if he says, I want to go, then City will probably do it for around 50. I suspect. And De Bruyne, he's 33. I suspect he'll maybe around the 60, 70 mark. That's tough to answer because a couple of years ago, you'd have said 200 mil without even batting an eyelid. But yeah, so that's a real tricky one. For both, look, if you got 150 for both, then, you know, that'd be, yeah, I think that would be, if they wanted to go, made it clear we don't want to stay, get 150 for both and, yeah, move on.
Certainly solve your PSR issues if you had any.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, listen, we're going to wrap things up there. Tone, thank you so much for coming on. That was absolutely fascinating. I don't think there's any argument really over where you will be at the end of the season with that squad. My thanks to Alex, to Scott. Thank you for coming on. Alfie, I was going to thank you, but I'm not sure you're listening. As far as the group chat is concerned, you're currently Googling Sydney Sweeney, so enjoy.
Yeah, I searched her up and I'm happy I know who she is now.
Don't turn safe search off, you're too young for that.
Yeah.
Guys, don't forget to press the subscribe button. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.